What if I told you Montreal's biggest gamble could either make them a playoff lock or completely derail their rebuild? Right now, the Canadiens are facing a center crisis that's getting more desperate by the day, and a new blockbuster trade proposal has emerged that would see them go all in for one of the NHL's most underrated two-way centers. But the price tag? It might just be too steep to stomach. Joel Eriksson Ek isn't a household name like Connor McDavid or Nathan MacKinnon, but don't let that fool you for a second. The Minnesota Wild's 27-year-old Swedish center represents everything Montreal desperately needs right now: size, skill, defensive responsibility, and most importantly, the kind of proven NHL production that can anchor a second line for years to come. Heavy, Com has floated a trade scenario that would shake both organizations to their core. Montreal would acquire Eriksson Ek in exchange for a massive package, including Mike Matheson, Owen Beck, Philip Mizar, and a 2026 second-round pick. On paper, it's the kind of deal that immediately transforms the Canadian center depth while potentially mortgaging significant pieces of their future. Let's talk about what Montreal would actually be getting in Eriksson Ek. This isn't just any center. We're talking about a player locked up for 4 more years on an 8-year, $42 million contract that carries a very manageable $25 million annual cap hit. In today's inflated NHL salary market, that's borderline robbery for a player his caliber and consistency. The production speaks for itself. Even when injuries limited his games last season, Eriksson Ek managed 29 points in just 46 games, 14 goals and 15 assists, which projects to nearly 50 points over a full 82-game campaign. But here's what makes those numbers even more impressive. He did it while playing Minnesota's demanding defensive system, often matched against opposing teams' top lines and eating up crucial penalty kill minutes. What Montreal would be getting is a player who can do everything. Eriksson Ek wins faceoffs at an elite level, something the Canadiens have struggled with for years. He's responsible defensively, capable of shutting down opposing top lines while still contributing offensively. At 6'3" and 210 pounds, he brings the kind of size and physicality that becomes invaluable during playoff hockey. But every blockbuster trade comes with a cost, and what Montreal will be giving up in this scenario is staggering. Mike Matheson, their veteran defenseman entering the final year of his 8-year, $39 million contract, has been the subject of trade speculation all summer. The 30-year-old brings offensive upside from the blue line and would immediately improve Minnesota's power play while providing veteran leadership. Owen Beck represents the future of Montreal's center position. The 21-year-old prospect has been steadily climbing through the organization and was expected to compete for an NHL roster spot this season. Trading Beck away essentially means Montreal is betting that Eriksson Ek's proven production outweighs the potential of their homegrown talent. Then there's Philip Mizar, the 2022 first-round pick who hasn't lived up to expectations since being drafted. The Slovak winger was supposed to be a cornerstone piece of Montreal's forward rebuild, but his development has stalled, and he struggled to establish himself as an NHL-caliber player. For Minnesota, he represents a reclamation project with first-round pedigree. The timing of his potential deal couldn't be more critical. Kirby Dach's injury situation continues to cast a dark shadow over Montreal's season before it even begins. According to reports from Maxime Truman of Dawn Les Coulisses, Dach is still not clear to play 5 months after his latest knee surgery, with his availability for opening night looking increasingly doubtful. This creates a domino effect throughout Montreal's lineup that extends far beyond just the second-line center position. Without Dach, younger players get pushed into roles they might not be ready for. Depth becomes compromised, and the team's overall competitive balance suffers dramatically. What makes the situation even more intriguing is the apparent disconnect between public perception and management stance. While fans and media continue to emphasize Montreal's desperate need for center depth, General Manager Kent Hughes recently suggested the organization is comfortable with their current options. Hughes told reporters that the team has centers within their organization and feels good about their depth heading into training camp. But here's the problem with that assessment. Comfort and competitiveness aren't the same thing. Montreal might have bodies to fill center positions, but do they have the quality necessary to compete in an increasingly competitive Eastern Conference? The psychological impact of acquiring Eriksson Ek would be massive for Montreal's locker room. Young stars like Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield need to see that management is serious about building a winner around them. Adding a proven veteran center sends a clear message that the organization is ready to take the next step from rebuilding to genuine contention. From Minnesota's perspective, this trade makes sense if they're looking to retool rather than rebuild completely. Matheson would immediately upgrade their blue line, while Beck and Mizar represent the kind of young talent that could develop into impact players within their system. The second-round pick adds additional draft capital for a wild organization that's been aggressive in pursuing future assets. The financial implications of this deal extend well beyond just the immediate cap considerations. Eriksson Ek's contract provides cost certainty for the next 4 years, allowing Montreal to build their roster around a known commodity rather than gambling on prospect development or expensive free agent signings. But here's where this trade gets really interesting. The risk-reward calculation is enormous for both sides. Montreal will be betting that Eriksson Ek's immediate impact outweighs the long-term potential of their prospects. Minnesota would be gambling that they can maximize the value of Montreal's young talent, while using Matheson to maintain their competitive balance. The hockey analytics community would have a field day analyzing this potential deal. Eriksson Ek's underlying numbers suggest he's been somewhat unlucky with his point production, meaning Montreal could be acquiring a player poised for even better offensive seasons. His defensive metrics are consistently elite, and his face-off percentage hovers around 55%, exactly what a team like Montreal needs. As training camp approaches and the regular season looms, Montreal's center situation becomes more pressing by the day. They can't afford another season of hoping prospects develop quickly enough to fill crucial roles, especially with their young core entering what should be their most productive years. This proposed blockbuster represents more than just a roster move. It's a franchise-defining decision that could determine whether Montreal accelerates their timeline toward contention or continues the slow build through their prospect system. Will Kent Hughes pull the trigger on a deal that could reshape both organizations? The hockey world is watching, and the answer could define the Canadiens' immediate future. What do you think? Is Eriksson Ek worth this massive package? Or should Montreal stay patient with their development plan? Drop your thoughts below and smash that like button for more blockbuster trade analysis.